Alright y'all, James Reid back with another video. I just got a new stove in the mail the other day. It's a BRS-7. It's a super giant version of a Coleman camp stove. Runs on unleaded gasoline. I've got Coleman white gas in it. We're going to do a water boil test today, 5 liters. It is lightly raining out here. I got a tarp over my setup, but it's still a drizzle. This shouldn't take too long though. This stove is powerful. To get it started, I'm going to put some isopropyl down in the well there. There's a wick down in there. Fire that up, and that's going to preheat the generator. That's the flame control there. Generator's preheating. I saw a few videos in some Asian language on YouTube, so I thought I'd make a couple of videos with this stove. I'm going to do some wok cooking with it. Mostly it's set up for a wok. So that generator's warming up. I'm James J. Reid. We're testing the BRS-7 base camp stove. It's a very powerful, maybe 30,000 BTU burner. I'm going to go ahead and open up the fuel supply to that burner. Alright, I'm going to turn it down and let the generator get nice and hot. Alright y'all, the stove is hot. We're going to test a 5-liter water boil test. It's like the international safety. I'm going to go ahead and turn the burner up. Start the timer, stopwatch. It seems unstable, but it's my table, not the stove. Need to add a little more water here. It's hard to carry it when it's full. That is 5 liters of water. We're not going to use a lid. We're going to take the starting temperature. We're 40 seconds in. 63 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a cold day here in South Louisiana. It's a light drizzle. This is only my 3rd time lighting this stove, first time even putting a pot on it. Plan to do a lot of stir fries on this stove. I got a little wok that's going to work just fine on it. We're 1 minute and 30 seconds in. We're at 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Stove pulses a little bit. Seems to be normal with these type of pressurized stove. Also, maybe I didn't pressurize it enough. Let me know what you think in the comments. Seems dangerous to move it, but it's pretty stable. Basically 3.5 minutes into this fire. We're coming up on 90 degrees Fahrenheit. .93 degrees Fahrenheit. Temperature's rising fast now. You see small bubbles forming at the bottom of the pot. Still learning how to use the stove. All the instructions were in Chinese. Just past the 420 mark. Coming up on the 4.5 minute. We are at 99 degrees Fahrenheit in the center of the pot. 5 liters on the BRS-7 stove. Alright, we're at the 5.5 minute mark. Boiling 5 liters of water on the BRS-7 camp stove. I'm going to take the temperature. We're halfway there. We're at 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 111 degrees Fahrenheit. Six minutes in, the 5 liter water boil test for the BRS-7 camp stove. This stove is awesome. I think I should have pressurized the tank a little bit more, but it seems to be working fine. Alright, we're starting to get some motion on the top of the pot. A little shimmer on the surface of the water. We're at 7.5 minutes. I'm going to take the temperature. .128 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll Over at the edge here, it's 133. About 8 minutes in. Coming up on 8 minutes. Alright y'all, we're testing the BRS-7 stove here. We're trying to boil 5 liters of water, see how long it takes to bring it to a good hard boil. We're coming up on the 9-minute mark. I'm going to take the temperature of the water in the pot. We're at 141 degrees Fahrenheit, in the center of the pot. I'm going to be honest, this pot's a little small for this stove. With a little more circumference. It's really, I think, made for woks and larger pots. It's a really powerful stove. I'm looking forward to trying it out on some things. James J. Reid. Like, share, subscribe. We've got tiny bubbles forming on the surface of the water. We have crossed the 10-minute mark. Coming up on 10.5 minutes. The temperature is 154 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the camp stove, BRS-7. I got it on Amazon, but you can find it in multiple locations. I'm not going to put a link. Just past 11 minutes. We're almost at a simmer. Quite a bit of movement on the surface of the water, tiny bubbles forming. At the bottom of the pot, there's quite a bit of larger bubbles ready to be released and come up to the surface soon. I'm going to rotate the stove. I'm going to try to. Oh no. Failure. It's still spewing fuel. I gotta try to light it. Alright, failure averted. I doused the flame with water, but it was still spouting fuel, so I was able to relight it almost immediately. Also in that time I happened to stop Stopwatch. It's still going though. Alright, we had a near crisis. It was fun to watch, I'm sure. We just crossed the 13-minute mark. The stove's fired up and going strong. We're at a pretty hard simmer at the surface. I would call that simmering. Got steam coming off the surface. I'm going to take the temperature. We're at the 13.5-minute mark. In the center of the pot, we're at 177 degrees Fahrenheit. The BRS-7 stove. James J. Reid. Like, share, subscribe. There's a note. Don't try to rotate a stove while it's working. We're crossing 14 minutes. And there's a lot of activity on the surface of the water. More bubbles starting to come up from the center of the pot. More from the hot edge as well. So 14 minutes in. Fourteen and a half minutes. The temperature is 187 degrees. Climbing. Once again, we're doing a 5-liter boil test on the BRS-7 stove. The fuel is white gas, camp fuel. The stove's supposed to run on unleaded. And I had some camp fuel around, so I put it in there. It also comes with a nozzle that you can change out and run diesel or kerosene fuel. But I'm going to try unleaded in the future. It's readily available. I can walk to the corner and get some. Just crossed the 15.5-minute mark. We're at 196 degrees Fahrenheit. Going into the minute 16. We'll be able to boil very soon, I believe less than 20 minutes. Alright, we just crossed the 16.5-minute mark. We're at 202 degrees Fahrenheit. 202 degrees Fahrenheit. About to roll into minute 17. Larger bubbles breaking the surface of the water. Multitudes of tiny bubbles at the surface of the water. At the hot edge, we have a very hard simmer. We just crossed the 17-minute mark. The stove is pretty loud. we just crossed the 17.5-minute mark. I'll take the temperature. 208 degrees, almost 209 degrees. Rolling into minute 18. We got a hard, oh, here we go. At the edge we have a boil. At the edge we got 211, 210. Oh yeah, I'm gonna move that stopwatch. At the 18-minute mark and we have a hard boil. 18.5 minutes. Super hard boil. I gotta turn it down. I gotta turn it off actually. I've got too much water in that pot. Alright, obviously I got too much water in that pot. "18 minutes, 55 seconds, super hard boil at 18.5 minutes. Pretty good stove. Like, I wish I had a bigger pot, but that's what I got. 5 liters is the international standard for being able to sanitize water. This stove could sanitize water all day. I could probably boil a much larger pot. Alright, James J. Reid, like, share, subscribe. The BRS-7 stove, this is only the 3rd time I've lit it. First pot I've had on it. Stay tuned for more cooking videos on this pot. There'll be a playlist in the description you can link to. James J. Reid, like, share, subscribe. Peace out.